Everybody, and welcome to. Have any questions, put them in the chat. If you're watching this after the fact on LinkedIn, YouTube, you put your questions in there, we will answer them. I just want to bring up one thing before we get into our conversation, is that we are announcing a Thriving Mind Empowering Innovators mental wellness course for entrepreneurs. It's got some government support. It is free for entrepreneurs. The Eventbrite is going to be in the comments section. Come check it out. We've got 7 courses. We're partnered with Collectively Tangled, Platform, Innovate Calgary, the Calgary Innovation Collision, and we're working with all the universities, MRU, U of C, Bow Valley, to promote this and make sure that everybody gets the support that they need as an entrepreneur. And speaking about support, I am so excited about this conversation. I was introduced to them about 3 or 4 months ago. We've had a few conversations, and they give way more support than I do. And I'm so excited to tell this story. Amit and Kumar, how are you today?
We are great, Jade. Thank you. If I may explain the tapping sound your guest.
Absolutely. We're going to get into that.
Yeah, this is a 50-cent piece of plastic with an alphabet card that Amit types on. And what is happening is that he's typing on the card and I'm reading what he says. If I sound like a robot, it's because I'm reading what he's typing. And if I sound like a semi-human, it's me.
Well, you know what? I think this is one of the things that intrigued me the most. As you know, why don't we talk about that? I mean, obviously, Amit has autism, but that hasn't held him back. That's actually it's inspired more creativity and more to become an entrepreneur because of it. So why don't you kind of talk a little bit about your family story before we get into the business story?
Well, first, Jade, thank you very much for having us on. I had autism, and it still affects my independent speech. So I use this card to help me speak. Think of it this way. Many use glasses to help them see. I use this card to help me speak. I'm practicing speaking now the way your daughters practice softball.
Yeah, well, they put in a lot of practice. You're a better speaker than our daughters are softball players. There's no doubt there. There is no doubt.
Don't know about that. One playing at the Worlds.
Well, it was a wonderful experience. That's for sure. That is for sure. So how? I guess how has it been for you as let's talk about you as a father. And how has your life had to adapt to help with his vision and his goals and what he wants to do in life?
Well, sometimes we think there are bumps in the road, and yet the bumps in the road are exactly what causes you to take the little rocky path sometimes, so that you end up where you were meant to go. I wanted to be a dad. I was desperate to be a dad, and we didn't know we could get a kid. We had troubles getting a kid in the first place. Then during the pregnancy, we realized our kid had some medical challenges. We didn't know if the baby would survive. So, and at that time, I was a physician in a hospital, spending lots of time in intensive care. And so I knew what was likely down the path from a medical viewpoint. So hardcore physiology, the organs in the body and how those work.
Yes.
And instead, what happened is that the medical piece of stuff was rocky at the start, but then we realized that Amit had developmental challenges, and eventually I was diagnosed as having severe global developmental delay and autism spectrum. We can tell about how we got onto the less trodden path, but that less trodden path was instrumental in my dad changing the way he practiced medicine and being able to work with me in my business.
And I think that's amazing. And obviously, from one father to another, we would do anything for our kids. So that's, I mean, it makes sense. And you know, I'm sure if the roles were reversed, there would be so many people that would just say, yes, absolutely, I will change what I can do, and because of it. And we have a really good friend that I grew up with in Sask that both his kids have muscular dystrophy, and again, they've adapted, what they can do in their lives to make sure that their children can live, a healthy, happy life.
Yeah.
And it's gratifying. And I mean, and especially as I'm guessing, Amit, coming from you, you've got to be very appreciative of the support that you received from your parents.
I absolutely am. And I understand that it is their job to support me and challenge me. Don't always like it, mind you. No kid does, but it is integral that they also challenge me. I think that it can be a mistake to coddle someone with challenges. The bruises are an important part of the learning and growth, I would submit.
Oh, isn't that the truth, right? Very, 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 very true. No matter what parts of life that you're in.
Yeah.
And so how I want to talk a little bit about your the Chintan product, which is, again, anybody can click on the website or click on the comment section. It'll take you directly to the website. So how did you decide that this is something this was my vision? This is something that I wanted to do. This is something that I wanted to give back and help people. Please share your story of how you founded the Chintan project.
So this is a story of giants. More correctly, Jade, of standing on the shoulders of giants. There have been many in my life, and I will mention here a few. I will mention it because I suspect, I know, for your audience, they have their own giants in their lives, their own giants on whose shoulders they can stand. So one of the first for me was Mr. Bill Bartman, who was teaching self-development at the time, but he was a business guy. And he let me, a 3-year-old autistic kid, attend his classes. So Pratima and I, my wife and I, made a promise to Bill that if our kid so much as, twitched in the room to disturb anybody, that we will take him out of the room. Because at that time, Amit was still screaming, still head banging, still very much in the throes of autism. And so Bill Bartman said, deal. and he let Amit, the 3-year-old autistic kid, attend with Pratima and I in the classes. And people would watch this kid sort of sitting there attending, and there wasn't a squeak out of him, because Jade, he was teaching me about levers to move the world. He was teaching me about business as a lever to move the world. And I came to believe that if I was going to change the world, if I was going to, frankly, change my own life, it would be by thinking of it as a business.
I think that's incredible. I mean, and kudos to Bill. I'm sure you guys are obviously still in touch with him, and that is a fascinating.
We are in touch in the heart. He's passed on.
Oh, sorry to hear that. But I mean, to have somebody such an inspiration at such a young age to, I guess I know, and as you say in your website, find your North Star at the age of 3. That had to be really inspirational.
I will not say it was. I will say it is.
No,
it still inspires me. And it also gives me the certainty that so many of my clients and so many of yours know what it is that is truly calling to them, but they are scared to admit it.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept, right? Being scared, right? I mean, everybody gets scared to make a decision, scared to make a step, scared to make a mistake, for that matter. How? I mean, I want to hear about your, what scared you as being autistic. Was there different fears, or did you have to overcome a few other things to have people believe in you and the Chintan Project as a business?
Well, fear is an important thing. And in some ways, what we have learned to do for ourselves and our clients is to leverage that fear. What is it trying to teach us? Part of who we are is an animal. Sure, we are more than that, but there is an animal part, a part that worries about mortality and worries about losing something that we care deeply about. And I think that can be an important driver. For me, I knew that I was here meant that there was a reason. This universe of ours is way too efficient to have anything exist that doesn't serve a purpose. So I knew that if I was here, there must be a reason. While I knew there was a reason, I didn't know what was the reason. There was a hunger to know my purpose, my reason for being, and then thinking again of Bill Bartman, of leveraging that purpose. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I can see how you took all of that and bottled it up into a business that basically helped people. So, I mean, your own inspiration and the inspiration that you got from Bill and probably your parents and all the people that supported you around must have been very instrumental in creating the Chintan project.
Yes. Underlying the Chintan project is a belief that each of us has a purpose that is unique to us. And there is another knowing jade, and it's this: that our challenges are uniquely purposed to. They are purposed, perfectly purposed to help us learn and grow, that we might graduate. Yes, that's the word, graduate, to our next challenge.
Well, for sure, absolutely. There's always the next challenge.
Yeah.
You finish one, you're already behind in the other one as
Yeah.
you move forward.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Chintan project. Tell us about we got the inspiration behind it a little bit. Tell us about the business itself and what type of clients that you are looking for or are helping.
So we leverage our gifts in Chintan. We are human behavior advisors. My years of struggling through the maze of autism helped make me an expert in how we humans tick and how we humans relate. So what we do in the consulting arm of Chintan is help business owners and leaders solve their people problems, the ones that occur above HR. So people problems come in two flavors: the problems within the leaders themselves and the ones where the leaders relate to typically their ownership or leadership teams. That's where we specialize.
So how do you work with them? How do you I mean obviously not trying to say how you find them or things along those lines, or where or who you work with, and you do business all over North America, which is impressive. You're kind of like a hidden gem in Edmonton, as far as I'm concerned. But how do you kind of take that step and really say, this is what we need to do, this is how we need to help you?
So it's easiest, perhaps, with an example, because most times we are called in like SEAL Team 6. Come in, help us fix the problem, then go away and don't let the investors, the shareholders, sometimes even the staff know that you were here. So makes testimonials a bit of a challenge, dude.
I would think so. Yeah. Yes,
So-
exactly.
So recently, we were called in to help someone who was selling his oil services company. And he was distracted, he thought, because of challenges at home. He and his wife owned the business, had built the business together, raised their kid together, and if you will, both kids were getting ready to leave home. And the spouses were fighting. You've bought businesses. When the partners don't get along, you know what that's like.
Yeah.
Trying to come to a deal with one seller is hard enough.
Isn't that the truth?
So we got called in to help the couple solve their problems. And here's what it came down to. What's next? They had spent so much of their lives building their two kids, one human, one business, that they had never considered what happens next. We helped them get that clarity over 4 hours. They were able to close the sale of their business, and as a bonus, live with each other.
Well, that's important. Living with each other, right?
Their lawyers were very pleased to not have to split the family trust. So people problems, Jade, exist at every level, right? And because we've got this line: entrepreneurs and business owners are people too, and so they have got all of the same struggles that everyone else has. It's just magnified. Another line from Bill Bartman was the following. He said, use the owner. When you pick your nose, everybody notices. And in truth, people look at the owners with a different set of lenses. And owners sometimes, we talked a little bit earlier with vulnerability, about being open with the kinds of challenges that we are dealing with. Because people somehow build the leaders up as superheroes, and they've got quirks. They've got all of the frailties of humanity and all of the gifts and strengths of humanity. And we help them own that part of themselves, and we help them leverage it. Many communication challenges within leadership teams arises because The leaders never tell why they do what they do.
Yeah. And again, I mean, it's leaders, it's hard to be vulnerable as a leader, right? You're supposed to be strong. I mean, that's just the way it's always been portrayed. Doesn't mean it's
Yep.
right, but
What
that's just the way it's always been.
I
And everybody sits there and goes, "Well, if well, if I look this or I ask for help, then I look weak," and that's the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I remember being at the Saskatchewan airport. We lived in Saskatchewan for years, and a consultant, business consultant, just we happened to be talking in the airport line, and this was before COVID. You could be within a couple of feet of each other, and he was saying, like I coach my clients. He was saying to be like a swan in the water, look graceful above the surface while you're paddling like crazy beneath. And at the
Wow.
time, I was younger in business. And at the time, I thought that was brilliant advice. And the School of Hard Knocks has taught me, and working with clients over the years has taught me that that's a mistaken view. That it's the pretending that there isn't the challenge is sometimes the very challenge. If I may say it another way, Marcus Aurelius from Stoicism says it hence: the obstacle in the way is the way.
No, absolutely.
And
Isn't
facing
that
up to
correct?
what this is, recognizing that there's challenges, and and look, you have to be cautious about how you share those challenges, because in this day, especially public companies can't go around
No.
sharing all their dirty laundry. Then they would crash and burn when it's a routine part of operating a business, because the people chasing fads in the market don't understand that this is part of what we do every day to run the business. Yet there is a balance of acknowledging the challenge and being willing to talk about it. Our hope for your course that you are setting up is that you help those budding entrepreneurs. You help them be willing to discuss their challenges and be willing to ask for help. Be willing to look for help. There is a book that preaches, ask not how, but who.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it is. And I mean, I'm getting text messages right now from people who are just inspired by the conversation that we're having right now, and how impressed they are with you, Amit, and of course, Kumar, yourself, as how you come across, how the business that is. So again, I mean, I've got goosebumps myself, right? I just love what you guys are doing. Obviously, us at Peer Guidance are passionate about helping and giving back and doing those things. So I guess moving forward, what's next?
Well, you mentioned earlier, no sooner do you solve one challenge that the next shows up. The same occurs in the evolution of our and every business too. So for us, we are continuing to help our clients solve their people problems, and those problems are getting bigger. we have graduated to solving bigger challenges, helping our clients solve bigger challenges. The next growth phase of Chintan is that we are growing by acquisition. So we are in the process of acquiring businesses that will support other executive coaching and leadership consultants. So that is our next growth step.
I love that. I love it. You've done a lot. You've done a lot of great things, and now it's, bringing other great people together to do more great things at a larger scale. I think that's very inspiring.
So much of our work over the last few years has been in mergers and acquisitions, that this was the natural next step. We were in the business of helping buyers get their heads straight and sellers get their heads straight. Now, this is the next step.
I love it. And I think that's a great next step. And, you've built an extremely, the Chintan Project. For anybody that wants more information, just click on the comment section, head to the website. You've built a great business. You've inspired a lot of people over the lifetime of your business. And now to bring more people in, I love that. And growth by acquisition is a very good next step. I love it.
We're following in Jade's footsteps in some way.
Well, I don't know about that. Like, everybody creates their own path, and everybody inspires people in different ways. And as we were talking before, right? There's so many great people in this province and in our communities, and whether it be from government to education to individuals to consultants, everybody works together, and that's what's keeping us, our ecosystem moving full steam ahead. Yeah, and I love it. The only thing I don't love is that our conversation, always has to come to an end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I'm sure you looked at the clock, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, we've been talking for 33 minutes already, right? It's like, you just talk. I mean, that's what I love about telling it like it is. It's so nonchalant, and it's just a good conversation. But I do want to get something.
It is our hope that we have been able to serve your audience today. Even if it's only through our stories. We would love for them to head over to our website. And we talked a lot today about cooperation. We have an article there specifically about cooperation, and yes, our different way of looking at it.
No, that's great, and I hope there are a lot of people that will head over here now and then watching this after the fact. And like I said, I've got 4 or 5 texts from people saying this was an unbelievable conversation that we're having, and are so inspired by you two. So thank you, but I'm not going to let you go just yet. I need to get my last question in, because I love it, and I know you're going to have a great answer, as do all other entrepreneurs. So, Amit, if you have one piece of advice for a startup or entrepreneur, what would that be?
It's the following, Jade. It is natural to stand on the shoulders of giants. That is the natural process. that occurs in evolution, in the growth of civilizations, and I dare say in the growth of people. So, to entrepreneurs like myself, be okay standing on the shoulders of giants.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I've never had that in 300 episodes. That is, this is why I keep asking this question. It's again. I mean, I've used the word inspiration a lot, but again, every little tidbit that you get from somebody comes out in a different way or a different way of saying it that you may make someone else relate to it. Maybe a little better.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And again, for anybody that's watching, please head to the website, the Chintan Project. It's in the comment section. Click on it. It'll take you directly there. And again, Amit and Kumar, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story today. I mean, took way too long to get us on, but this is one that I didn't want to run during the summer. I wanted to make sure that we were doing this in a September, October, because again, I love your story. I love you as entrepreneurs and people, and thank you for being awesome and sharing your story today.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, Jade.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, for anybody who wants to find it, just click on the website in the comments section. Again, the Thriving Minds Empowering Innovators is going to be starting October 19th is going to be the first session. So the Eventbrite is up in the comments section as well. So again, thank you guys very much for your time today. And I look forward to our next conversation.
We look forward to it too. Thank you.
I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day.